in 2 seconds. Hello and welcome. My name is Wayne, and today you are going to be privileged to be here because we're going to really unveil some very exciting news to you. But before we begin this presentation on this crowdfunding platform that we have, let me just read this very quick and short disclaimer. This message is intended for invitees only. Any recordings, reproduction, or distribution of this content in whole or in part is strictly prohibited without explicit permission. This presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and any financial decisions you make are your own responsibility. Participating in this program is voluntary. This program is not an investment. It is not a savings plan, and it does not guarantee any financial return. It is simply a crowdfunding platform. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a professional financial advisor before making any financial decisions. By participating in this program, you agree to the terms and conditions outlined in this disclaimer. So now that we've got this disclaimer out of the way, these people that you see on the screen, they represent members of our community that have actually used our service and has actually received their gifts. And as you can tell from the pictures, they represent people from a cross-section of our society. So today, you're about to have a look at something that's very, very unique. Now, the whole idea of crowdfunding is not new. It literally started over 800 plus years ago in sub-Saharan Africa when a group of farmers decided to pool their meager resources together so that they can assist each other. Of course, that idea has been exported all throughout the world. In the Caribbean, where I'm from, it's called Susu. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for those of you who don't know. In Jamaica, they call it a partner. India, they call it a committee. Some parts of Africa, they call it a merry-go-round. In North America, we commonly refer to it as crowdfunding. Now, we've done something very unique to this crowdfunding platform, and it is all because of this device you have in your hands. Now, if I ask you what this is, every single person will tell me that it is a smartphone, but you would only be half right. You see, years ago when it first came out, definitely you can only make and receive phone calls. But today, what you have in the palm of your hands is more of a mobile computer rather than just a cell phone. I've used this as an internet device in the middle of a park, connected with no wires to my computer. I was able to do this very same presentation. So this is far more than just a smartphone. And what if we take this device and remarry it to an age-old concept of crowdfunding? What would be the marriage? What would the offspring of that look like? And today we're going to go through that and explore that option and let you know exactly what we have done to this over the last 8 weeks. And right now we're doing this manually. Very soon we're going to be online where everything is going to be automated. But right now it gives you the opportunity to practice and see exactly how this system works. Now, to get a really good idea of this analogy, we're going to take you on a tour of a private jet. Now, on board a private jet, and the operative word is private, you can only get on board a private jet if you are related to the owner or owners, maybe your family, maybe it's part of a business, and that's the only way you get invited to a private jet. Same here. We have one person at the top. We call this person the captain. The two people right here, labels B and C, we call them the co-pilots. The other 4 people from D to G, we call them the crew members. And of course, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right here, we refer to them as the passengers. So just to really give a very clear analogy of this, let's take a quick virtual tour of a real private jet. Now, this private jet happens to be built in Canada. It's called a Global 7500, and it's built by a company called Bombardier. And the unique thing about this particular private jet, it has the ability to leave one continent, skip completely over another continent on its way to a third. So it can literally leave North America, either Toronto, where I'm at, or New York, which is on the same eastern seaboard of North America, and it can literally skip over Africa on its way to Dubai or Hong Kong, which is on the other side of the world. So imagine that you are a passenger on board this particular aircraft. So I'll just let this play for a second as it goes through. And basically, the reason why we liken this onto this private jet is that we want to leave one state, the state of poverty, which we are right now, and we want to skip over all the bills and all the potential increases and everything that we seems to have so many bills at the end of the money every month. We want to go above that and skip it completely and go to what I call Treasure Island. So this whole concept of crowdfunding is to assist you in that journey. Now, as you can see on board this private jet, very different to a public jet, which would have 200-300 people, sometimes almost up to 1,000 people. Here, it is a very select group of people. And this aircraft has a nautical mile range of 14,000 nautical miles, which of course allows it to travel very long distances. And as you can see, in style and comfort, right? The finest of China, your favorite beverage. And I'd just like to pause on the flight deck for a moment because we're going to talk a lot about becoming a captain and what it takes to become a captain. Now, on board a real private jet like this one, the captain sits in the left-hand seat, and that captain is responsible for everything on board that aircraft. Okay, the person sitting to the right is called a co-pilot. And buried beneath these computers, there's another pilot that you don't see called the autopilot. For those of you who are in aviation and an aviation fan like myself, will definitely appreciate the autopilot. Now, as this young lady takes us a little bit through a virtual tour, just so we get a feel for the comfort of a different lifestyle. Of course, people who are very wealthy have access to things like this. So the whole idea is that we can become comfortable with the idea moving forward. Now, she's sitting in the galley that she was just showing us. And moving forward, you're going to see the 4 club seats. On board our virtual jet, this is where our crew members are going to sit. And she will continue to tour this private jet. You can see far below, there's Madrid. Let's call it an obstacle. In our virtual jet, it would be considered a major bill. We want to fly high, way above that. And as you can see, in the finest of China and comfort. Now, as she moves aft of the aircraft, you're going to see that here are where our passengers are going to sit on board our virtual jet. And just like the real jet, and here there's even a private bedroom for the guest, the VIP owners or co-owners. They would sit in this area. Now, she's also going to show us some of the other features on board this private jet. And as she walks towards the lavatory, which is the bathroom on board an aircraft, you can see it looks just like the one that you have at home. So on a very long flight, it would be very comfortable. As she walks aft of the aircraft towards the tail section, you can have access to your luggage. If you wanted to have a shower, change into your business suit just before landing in Dubai or Hong Kong, then definitely you are able to do that on board this aircraft. Now, here's a cross section of an private jet. Here are the 8 seats that we're talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this compartment. Here are the 1, 2, 3, 4. In this configuration is called club seats. In our virtual jet, they're called the crew members. And of course, we saw the flight deck just a moment ago. Now, just like a real aircraft, when you board our virtual jet, you will send a gift of $2,000 to the current captain. And you heard me correctly, it is indeed a gift. On a real aircraft, it will probably be where you're paying for the flight. But in this case, because we're crowdfunding, we are sending a gift to the current captain. In this case, this captain has received $4,000. And the unique thing about what we have done to this platform is that these funds are sent peer to peer, person to person in real time using USDT TRC20, which is the equivalent of the US dollar on a cryptocurrency platform, like within your Token Pocket application, for example, allowing you to send those funds to anybody anywhere in the world that has a smartphone or a mobile computer in the palm of their hands. You can even be on the top of Mount Everest, connected by satellite, and you can still receive those funds. So this is how we're able to send funds to each other. It takes all of 30 seconds to do that. In this particular case, this captain has received $4,000. It could be a few hours, a few weeks, maybe a few days later, as all 7 members on board this aircraft, the captain, the 2 co-pilots, or the 4 crew members, including the other members that are joined on the passenger side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 plus 7, that's 12. All 12 people are sharing this with 3, 4, or more. So imagine you being in the real aircraft and you're on your phone and you're inviting some friends to take a trip with you down to the beautiful island of Jamaica or St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or anywhere else you choose to go to, right? In this case, there are only 3 seats left. And with that many people, it wouldn't be long before the whole entire passenger section is filled up. In this case, this captain has received 2,000 times 8. And if you're counting, that's $16,000. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Can you use an extra $16,000 this month? How about next month? Can you use an extra $16,000? Would it be okay if the members of our community help you out once you become a captain by sending you gifts of $2,000 each times 8? And I can hear the answer already. Of course. When can you send it, Wayne? I wish it was yesterday. So imagine you received this just yesterday or the day before, $16,000. Now, if you're like me, you might be thinking, you know what? I would like to really maybe stash away my mortgage payment for maybe a couple of months, maybe my rent. I'd like to secure the roof over my head. Or perhaps you might think, let's get rid of some credit card debts, a $10,000 credit card at 30% interest. That's over $3,000. It would be nice to be able to pay down at least half of that over a few days, right? That way you create room. You can buy some gas, you can buy food, you can use it again, knowing full well that you intend to become a captain a next time over and over again. So I know what you're thinking. You may be saying, Wayne, I love that idea. It's definitely fantastic. I just can't afford that $2,000. Not a problem at all, because since this is a virtual jet, you can actually share one of these seats with another individual. So you can go half of it, which is 1,000. The other person goes 1,000. And when it becomes a captain and collects $16,000, half of it would be yours, which clearly would be $8,000. And your partner, whoever the other person you're partnered up with, would of course receive the other $8,000. But I can still hear you saying, Wayne, I really like it, but you know, I just don't have that $1,000. I mean, I've been so beaten up by the pandemic that I really don't have any money at all. I barely have $20 in my account. I understand you and I feel your pain. But since this is a virtual jet, you can literally share it with 10 people at $200 a piece. Now, if that's too much, you can literally go even smaller, maybe down to $100, where 20 people times 100 equals $2,000. And absolutely, you can do that. In fact, by creating the groups, and we're training people on how to do that, the groups are the most successful way that you can qualify in this system. And it's being very successful. So definitely stay tuned for the training on that and definitely come on board. So once you started with 100, the first cycle, you receive as much as 8 times back. That's $800 back after it's become a captain. The second cycle, out of that 800, you might want to take maybe 500. Okay, and you partner up with someone. Again, the second cycle, your portion of that, 5 times 8, that's 40. That's $4,000. And the third time around, out of that $4,000, you may take $2,000 and do it again. This time you have the full Mountie of $2,000 times 8, which is 16,000. So here is your third cycle where you're coming back and you've now sent $2,000 to the current captain. Now, everyone on board this aircraft, including yourself, there is 7 people on board. So you have the captain, the 2 co-pilots, the 4 crew, plus yourself. That's 8 people all trying to fill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 other seats. So if it's 8 people filling 7 seats, 8 times 2, that's 16. But you only have room for 7 more. So definitely this should be able to close very quickly by working with each other very closely. However, this fills up and you then advance to the cruise section. So 8 people, 7 plus yourself, allows you to move forward. And you don't have to wait for everyone on board this aircraft. You can literally decide that you can put 3, 4, 5, all 7 if you wanted. If you definitely wanted to move forward at will, all you need to do is to share it with the other 7 more people, plus yourself, that's 8, and you will instantly move forward. Whether that takes 1 hour or 10 minutes, it is entirely up to you. And if you want to become a captain as fast as possible, you simply take control and share with as many people as possible. However, this board has broken, as we say, you'll move forward to the crew section. And those people that you brought in, let's say you brought in all 7, then it means that they didn't have a chance to put anybody in. So guess what? By the time it gets to this cycle, they can now go ahead and put in their 2, because you need at least a minimum of 2 people to be able to qualify to become a captain. Now, this fills up again one more time. It pushes you to the co-pilot seat. And again, if you are following that logic where you share it not just with 2, but with 3, 4, 7 if you have to. That way you can break this board instantly and move forward. Doing this one more time and working with your team would propel you right into the captain's chair. And I always say to everybody, you can be a captain as fast as you want. Just get to work, share it with as many people as possible. So this breaks one more time. You're now in the captain's chair. And that's from the passenger section. 8 first time, 8 the second time. Next 8, you are co-pilot. And those people, the many of them may not have had a chance to put their 2 in. By the time they put their 2 in, you're now in the captain's chair. And it's definitely worth it. Now, as a captain, does it mean you have to wait for everybody? No, you absolutely don't. If you have people that are coming on to this virtual aircraft, they're going to send you that $2,000 directly, whether it's one person or a group of people. You now receive your first $2,000 in USD 30 seconds later after the person has scanned your QR code or copy and paste. Now think about how beautiful that would be the first time around. If you're like me, you may be having issues with your phone, I would definitely upgrade my phone. I would replace the phone, make sure that everything from that point onwards as it comes in goes exactly where it's supposed to be. Of course, maybe a few hours, a few days later, you've now received 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, $10,000. Clearly a life changer. This literally begins to change your life, right? Now you are now having the whole community to support you. And of course, it's not finished yet. You know, a few days later, it fills up 2,000 times 8. That's $16,000 the first time. And from this moment onwards, you can do this at will whenever you want. You don't have to wait for anyone. You can continue to share and propel yourself to the captain's chair as quickly as possible. Now, this is a follow me system. So after you've done this the first time, right now we're doing this on paper. We would be electronic very soon. All you need to do is to take $2,000 out of the 16,000 that you had received, and you simply call the person that invited you and says, hey, which virtual jet are you on? Is there a seat for me? In this example, you are taking seat number 6. You then send $2,000 to the current captain, who happens to be a single mom. Now, just imagine the impact that this has on the life of a single mother, where now she's no longer alone. And just as that African proverb says, it takes an entire village to raise a child. So imagine single moms being helped by this fantastic opportunity, no matter where they are. Now they know that they're being supported by the entire community. And this is all possible, guys, because we are using what's called USDT TRC20. When you land on this virtual passenger seat, you simply contact the captain. I would suggest text messages directly from your phone to their phone. In that way, it cannot be intercepted by anyone. Okay, it's a direct message. That person will then directly send you their receiving address. You simply copy and paste into your token pocket wallet, as an example. by simply clicking on TP, clicking on the token pocket, the USDT, TRC20. You then copy to a transfer, put it in, and then you are able to send those funds in less than 30 seconds. Imagine 8 people doing that at the same time. It's possible for you to receive 2,000 times 8, which is $16,000 in real time. And once we go online, this will happen perhaps more often than you think. Okay, so just imagine, even if it took 2 months to do this, guys, even if it takes 3 months, do you know anyone that's earning $16,000 a month? Anybody that you know that's receiving 16,000. If you're counting, it represents 1% of the population. In Canada, where I am, with over 40 million people, less than 1% receive anything close to that. Simple math, 16,000 times 10 months, it's $160,000. So now that you've listened to this entire presentation, its entirety, definitely you want to learn more. Get back to the person that invited you to this particular presentation and simply ask them exactly where you can participate. They're going to send you a copy of the current board, and all you need to do is to decide where you would like to start, whether you want to start at 2,000, maybe you want to start at just 1,000, perhaps you want to start at 500, even 200, even 100, or maybe you'd like to join one of the groups that we have, which is a very, very successful way of testing this system. If you want to test it, simply join one of the groups, take it for a test run. And once you have gone through and you understand the system, then definitely the sky is the limit from that point onwards. So definitely get back to the person that invited you here, get all your questions answered, and join us as soon as you can. This is Wayne, the DeFi boss, saying peace out and see you at the top.